Hey guys, after today, the Autopilot XYZ goes away. So what are we going to do? Where are we going to park our veAERO? And where are we going to do it in a way that is compatible with the CryptoEase community values? I'll dive into those in a sec. My name is Mike with CryptoEase, and I've been in DeFi and crypto since May of 2020 when I started with $100 in Bitcoin, and less than a year later I had a portfolio of over $500,000. Not as good as some folks, but pretty good. However, in the ensuing years, I've learned so many lessons. I've been rugged, I've been scammed, I've been up the yin yang, and I like to bring those lessons to our community and here on YouTube. And so I encourage you to put your questions in the comments here. So you can check out our community, CryptoEase, in the link below with the community section, classes, and different services like Alpha Watch, stuff like that. But the other thing I just want to point out is I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. But if you do stay till the end, then what you're going to learn is what I think is the best option, balancing the decisions we need to make for user interface change, simplicity, how to get my mother-in-law in, or how to serve DeFi OGs like Alex and other people in our community. So let's go dive in and take a look at that and get started. So as I said, after today, the Autopilot XYZ, well, it's not on XYZ, this is what you get when you use AI to help you be quick, so you can make a quick video. The Autopilot XYZ is basically dead to us. They're going into private mode. Essentially, they're exploring some other opportunity that came up. They gave us a week's notice, and I've been in the Discord. People are being quite gracious, honestly, with them. I've seen, other projects get absolutely toasted and hosed for moves like this. But the sentiment seems to be pretty positive so far, so benefit of the doubt, and maybe, those new opportunities will give us opportunities at enrichment. That's always our hope. But in the meantime, after today, basically you have 30 days to withdraw your veAERO FT position from the Autopilot.xyz. Today is the last day of rewards, which are paid in USDC. And now we're going to go hunting for other opportunities. So stay to the end and you'll see which project I'm going to park my veAERO in. But at the same time, let's take a look at our CryptoEase community and some of the values that we really want to focus on now. Oh, it looks like hands-free got dropped off of the list, but hands-free is one of them. So everybody talks about onboarding. Well, not everybody, but some projects are very vocal about it. We're going to onboard the next billion users to DeFi, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you seen your user interface even after you upgraded it? No way, bro. Like, I use my mother-in-law, Julie. Mama Julie is my acid test. If she can't get it, nobody, you're not going to get the boomers, okay? She is my boomer test case. Meanwhile, buddies like, Alex, other people in the community like David, people like Steve, Matt, and many more, they've already got that experience with crypto, so they're not as worried about it. But then the problem becomes, busy moms and dads that you got a family, you got a life, you want to, go to the mountains on the weekend hiking, or you got to do your 9 to 5 and trying to get out of your 9 to 5. And then on top of that, you got to do all your crypto and manage that. So we try to aim for a model that allows you to do that in less than 60 minutes per week. And we'll get into that in a second. But some of the factors that we look at are we need to have projects that are proven that there's some way. And there are other projects working on this, by the way, reputation systems, ways to easily judge projects where you've got some of the biggest projects in DeFi, the teams are not even doxed. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be bad. I know that from experience. But new people coming in, recently a crypto researcher that was in our community for a while was labeling some projects as high risk because the teams were not doxed. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of really good teams with, solid chops and solid track records that are not fully doxed. And that can be okay. But, we need a way to prove that. And then we also want ways to generate, our crypto passive income with reinvestment optionality. I don't want to be tied in, or I don't want our users in the community tied in to one token and simply reinvesting in that token. Maybe I want to take my passive income, reinvest it elsewhere. And that's why we look at projects like Convex Finance, StakeDAO, Aerodrome, and so on. And, simplicity is underrated in DeFi. there are so many UIs where people think it's simple. I mean, now I'm not going to knock, the good folks over at 40 acres, but, this kind of an interface, this is intimidating to regular people out there. People who, just, a few years ago were learning to operate a phone. And then, having ways to explain, well, what is the difference in functionality between borrowing or joining a relayer? And that's why CryptoEase community exists, is to create a buffer zone community support that helps to answer those questions and get those things seen to that these projects don't really think about, or they are not in a position to think about because of funding concerns. That can also be a very real concern, is that, these projects are bootstrapping, they're getting grants, they're getting loans, they're getting people investing in them, but those investors want to see results ASAP. And so, this is not a bad UI by DeFi standards. I mean, there's information, I can consume the information, I understand what it is, I got resources, I can get to the docs like any good project. But, when you compare this to something like the old Autopilot, like, I mean, come on. There's 2 options in this menu. What a dream UI this was. Even this was complicated for some people. Total reward send people don't really relate to that. But one of the best things that I loved about the Autopilot was the ability to come in here and model your veAERO and then go and look at, like, I got, 10,000 Aero, that's worth 3,385. I'm getting my Fibonacci numbers twisted. And what could my potential total rewards be monthly, annually, and so on in the current epoch, which is ending in 4 minutes. Goodbye, Autopilot. Thank you for your service in 4 minutes. All right. So too bad, so sad. And, I got grumpy about it, but, at a certain point, you got to move on. I got grumpy about it, not for me. I'm a degen. I can handle anything. That's just part of people who've been in it for a while. Like, there's people been in it way longer than me. I've only been in since 2020. Let's not talk about all the chances I had to buy Bitcoin in 2013 or 2011, like a lot of people who didn't pull the trigger. But the fact of the matter is that you got to have a certain thick skin when it comes to these kind of projects. Is we are on the cutting edge, of tech. Like, retail hasn't even, retail as we know it hasn't even arrived. One of the recent stats that I posted about on my Twitter was, let's see, let's go to, whatever. Okay, look, let's just move on. But one of the stats was that there's allegedly only 18 million total wallets on all L1s. Now that includes dupes, right? People farming and all of that. So if you think about it, if there truly are only 18 million wallet addresses on all L1 protocols, you're still early. There's always this you're still early narrative. I mean, that in and of itself is proof. Like, 18 million is not even 1% of the world. Come on. But the thing is that for people to get into it, people like my mother-in-law, even busy moms and dads that do understand the tech, need easy, fast, simple ways to get in and get out. And things have been improving, don't get me wrong. Overall in DeFi, there's been a lot of attention on UIs. From where we started to where we are today is like night and day. People don't get that, though, when they're new. And so, step-by-step guides and courses and all that kind of stuff is, something that I tend to in our community to help make things simpler. But there's got to be a way to navigate these platforms or to leverage other pieces of DeFi tech and stack that together, maybe to create, our own thing. Another thing that, I want to point out for these types of folks, like the busy parents and the retiring mother-in-laws, you're never going to find my mother-in-law in Discord. Number one, she doesn't even know how to use Discord, okay? But that doesn't take away from the fact that she understands and appreciates the risk. She understands what she's into, and she appreciates that passive income. But when she's got a question, she comes back to our community. Now, I've seen so often where regular folks, even smart folks that, are tech efficient, get into a Discord, will ask what is a legitimate, simple question and get, a shat on or looked down upon or spoken down to. And, that in and of itself is a barrier outside of user interfaces and simplicity and hands-free. That's another barrier that people have to face. And so that does create an opportunity for our community. But at the same time, I would love to see unbiased support across, all of the projects that we are into, and not just this hit or miss kind of approach. But that's one of the factors that I look at in terms of creating financial freedom for those folks using crypto. Of course, NFADYOR. All right, so fun fact, my original Aero airdrop is stacked in the Maxi Relay, and it's on a forever 4-year lock. And the beautiful thing about it is that since I got that airdrop for my Aerodrome participation, is that it's almost doubled. So, and I mean, that's not even all of the rewards that are stacked inside the relayer. You really got to dig in there and take a look at that sometimes if you're into the tech side of things. But for, you know, simple folks, like, not simple, but folks that are technophobic or folks that are looking for an easy way to fit, you know, DeFi and crypto into their busy lives, then I like to talk about the Bull or Bear, I don't care. And, you know, the Bull or Bear, I don't care, it's not rocket science and it's not new. But the way I like to do it is, it goes like this. It's super simple. I can explain this to my mother-in-law. She gets it, right? That's the point, is simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. You got a blue chip base, Bitcoin or Ethereum, those are your blue chips, no ifs, ands, or buts. You want to argue XRP or BNB, those are edge cases from a blue chip perspective, in my opinion, because you have to have conviction in them and their narratives. Anybody can come along and believe in digital gold or believe in institutional rails, privacy, and the other narratives that are tied to Ethereum, and also the king of DeFi, the home of DeFi, right? Then our middle layer, the middle layer of the sandwich, is crypto passive income, using proven projects, proven teams, and reinvesting those gains into either your risk on or back into your blue chip base or just back into more crypto passive income. And that's an individual conversation on a case-by-case basis. Not even layering in, you know, risk appetite, like, you know, are you conservative, balanced, or aggressive? How much are you investing? If you've only got a small amount invested, like, don't even waste your time getting into crypto passive income. If you've got a portfolio that's less than, I don't know, 2,000 in my opinion, then it's just not worth it to even look at getting into crypto passive income yet, because you got to offset for fees, you got to offset for the tech barriers of learning, you know, self-custody wallets and taking care of seed phrases, all of that kind of stuff. Now, there have been gains there, which we can talk about in another video. But then the third layer is risk on, and this is where we want to do our 1% to 10% bets. And that's something that I learned, you know, from Noah Seedman years ago, who's one of the OGs out there. You can find him on Crypto Twitter. He has a live stream, and I recommend anybody to enjoy it. But at the same time, there's a technical, you know, trading, market understanding barrier that you have to go through to understand, to even appreciate content by people like Noah or even some of the other folks I've been chatting to lately. But the cool thing is, you know, what was, oopsie, my bad. What was the Autopilot XYZ? The Autopilot XYZ, number one, a lot of things going for it. Beautiful UI, simple user interface. Connect your wallet, deposit, withdraw, dashboard, or go earn, and then go and, you know, connect. And I'm not going to connect my CryptoEase.eth wallet today, but you could just connect, and you could do Aero or veAERO, and I'm still in both. And, you know, withdrawing after today, and then, you know, we're going hunting for future opportunities. So, by the way, Epoch 134 is over. 10-4. See you later, Autopilot. Let's see what you guys are going to get up to. But for the rest of us, now we need options. So let's look at what our options are available today. Yes, proactive team, reasonable fees. Autopilot had reasonable fees, in my opinion, compared to some, you know, some of the others out there. But then again, you could argue, well, maybe they had reasonable fees, Mike, but they're the ones disappearing. You still got people like 40 Acres around. You still got people like Aerodrome looking to duplicate a similar setup, but we just don't know what it's going to look like yet. So the three main options here are this one here. You can go and, you know, manually vote on LP. So you can take your veAERO that's locked up. You can go over here to Aerodrome, hit on liquidity, you go pick a pool and go and cast your votes on those pools, right? Sorry, vote. There we go. My bad. And I mean, look at the fees. Like, oh man. Total voting power. Sorry, that's voting power. Total fees, almost $1 million. Incentives, 183. That's tapering down. Love that. New emissions, blah, 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 blah. But basically here you can come and choose your pool. Go ahead and vote. And, you know, do you want, how risk on do you want to be? You want to be slow and steady, you know, doing a like-to-like, like WETH, the WST ETH, concentrated pool? Do you want to be in basic volatile? Do you even know what these pools are? That's a whole nother barrier, right, guys? These things were all taken away by this beautiful interface. This beautiful interface. They just took it all away. And look at the beautiful, oh man, you don't even see what was this one here? 42% we had that one week. Oh, that was so juicy. And I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks before that, there was another like 45% or something. Now, fair enough. Those were ignition rewards or whatever, but these guys were doing the work and now they're gone. You know, this is like when you first find, I don't know, Brewster's ice cream and you're like, oh man, that flavor I had was so awesome. And then you go back and there's like, oh, the flavor was seasonal. Oh, well, I guess Autopilot was seasonal. It's bittersweet. I got to say, it's bittersweet. You know, I appreciated hanging out on the Discord a little bit the last couple of days and seeing the respect that the team has earned there from, you know, followers and some people on CT, some not so much on CT, some stealth. But it's good to see that. But at the same time, I mean, a week's notice. Come on, man. Oh, as a creator, I've invested effort in creating content around this platform and getting people in there, coaching people. But that's life. That's life in DeFi, and that's exactly why I do what I do. Is, you know, in part I do it for me and my portfolio, but I'm a DJ. I'll go and take the pain. I can do whatever. But then, you know, I want to look after my mother-in-law. I couldn't help my mom. That's the reason I started my community. I couldn't help my mom. She died during COVID. Tried to get her in crypto. She had these awful squatters. Just don't even get me started. Couldn't travel to South Africa to help her out. And so I ended up being able to help my mother-in-law, getting her retirement going, helping out my personal friends like Alex and other people in our community, replacing their income. And these are things that, you know, regular moms and dads want to do. We want that, you know, sovereignty of self-custody and the ability to control our futures, DeFi. All right, let's get back to the point, Mike. So you could manually vote. Now, I do want to point out there's someone you got to watch here on Twitter, and that's Blocktronics XYZ. Just learned about this recently. Very cool dude behind this. SSJ Currency. I recommend you follow Blocktronics XYZ and see what's coming there. That's if you want to do it manually, because he is creating a wonderful interface that's going to help you make things a little bit simpler for you to follow those pools. But at the same time, guys, we got to be aware of Aerodrome and MetaDex 03 coming in April and seeing, well, what functionality is going to surface there, first of all, here in Q1. Are we in Q1? Yeah, we're still in Q1. Or functionality in Q2, beginning of Q2, later in Q2. We got to see what is, you know, Wagme Alexander and all those folks going to get up to at Aerodrome. And it's super exciting. I'm stoked. But at the same time, you know, we've got to put our money to work. You can't just leave your NFT sitting on the sidelines. And so one of the options there is somebody like 40 Acres Finance. And this is their, you know, official Twitter. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead to the app here. Go ahead and connect to the app, connect your wallet, all that kind of good stuff. But there's two ways to make money effectively, essentially, with 40 Acres. One is you can lend your asset to the borrowing platform, and you can make a little bit of money there. It's about 6%. If you want to borrow, yeah, you could borrow if there's availability. The other one is you can join a relayer, but they actually have some custom options, which are cool. And I'm not going to get into it here. I'm going to make a separate video about this. I have gotten into some really great conversations in the last, I don't know, 48 hours or so on crypto Twitter, oh, here we go. And I appreciate, you know, comments from people like, you know, Crime Dog and VE Based and Tariq and so on. But effectively, you know, here's my post here. Or at least this is one of my comments on my post. The original post is this one, is if you're stuck and using vexy.fi. Right, so quick tip, if you're not aware, one of the reasons that I recommended getting into the Autopilot XYZ to newbies is because I knew there was an exit. And the exit strategy is through vexy.fi. With vexy.fi, you can go and sell your veAERO NFT anytime you need to. Not that I want you to sell it. Hell no, don't sell it. But sometimes you're pressed. Sometimes life is against you. Sometimes you need money now. Ooh, I'm going to whack the microphone. I'm so excited. And, you know, you need to sell. And so vexy.fi is a great marketplace for that. But out of this conversation, I did get to follow a bunch of new people that I'm super excited about, and learning more about some other tools on the fringes of where I like to focus for my community, but interesting to me, that I'm going to bring back to community members and, you know, some exciting stuff there. So 40 Acres is definitely an option. You've got some reward optionality. And check out their videos in their docs. That's what I recommend you do there. Go to 40 Acres Finance, check out their documentation if you want to do it alone. Otherwise, join our community, link in bio, and we'll figure it out together. By the way, that's our slogan is WAGMIT, not WAG me. WAG me is a standard, crypto term. It's we all going to make it. Yeah, but, good luck to you. You're on your own. In CryptoEase with Mike, we talk about WAGMIT, WAGMIT. We are all going to make it together. And I go to sleep at night thinking about every single member in my community and how to get them ahead, regardless of mother-in-law on the bottom end, as the bottom part of the barometer from a tech perspective, or somebody, super serious like Alex at the top. The last one is Aerodrome Finance. And what we do know, and just hat tip to VE Based for mentioning this to me in a Discord chat. I appreciate you, bud. We can't all have eyes everywhere. I know that I'm super tied up developing courses and stuff in my community, and the amount of time I have on crypto Twitter is just not enough. But MetaDex 03 is, we're at the dawn of MetaDex 03. We're at the dawn of Aerodrome Finance, cracking open the doorway onto Ethereum and seeing where does that get us. And we do know that some of their functionality they've spoken to is that they're actually going to provide some kind of autopilot functionality. Now, they already had something called the autopilot. So when this came down with the autopilot.xyz, I'm like, Wagme Alexander, is there any correlation between the autopilot.xyz and autopilot on Aerodrome Finance by Mello, the partnership with Mello? Because that's in certain specific pools only, not all of them. And I think my guess at this point is there's going to be some kind of expansion on that partnership or some additional partnership, or maybe they're literally just going to take over. I don't know. I'm speculating at this point. So I don't like to speculate, but we'll see what comes out of the next couple of weeks. I think that there's some great opportunities here, and I recommend that, if you're not following Aerodrome Finance, go ahead and do it. We've already seen shifts in their Discord. I noticed that, and I think VE Based, I think you're in the same boat as me, is on Twitter, on Discord. We've all been, booted out of Aerodrome Twitter. Oh, sorry, Discord. Have we? No. Is it back? I tried to get in again yesterday. Okay, so it might let me re-get in. I think what they did is they reset it maybe to allow for MetaDex 03 functionality or something. Because they got to join the two Discords together, Velodrome and Aerodrome, logically, right? Because everything is going into MetaDex 03. It's going to be a single token called Aero rather than Aerodrome Finance. And so there's a little bit of confusion for technophobic folks, but overall it's positive, super excited, and looking forward to the future. So those, again, are the options that are available to you. Is you can do manual voting on LPs like we saw on Aerodrome. You can check out 40 Acres Finance. It is a decent option. The UI is a bit more complicated, but you definitely can get there. And they do have some cool features that I'm going to make a separate video on. Yeah. And there's Aerodrome Finance, which is allegedly going to duplicate a similar setup. We'll see. And then whatever other options do emerge, like cool tools like Blocktronics on CT, follow them. Okay, guys, that's it. This is the end of the video. These are our options right now today. It is March 25th. We just said goodbye to the autopilot. Goodbye, autopilot. Thank you for your service. I'm gonna miss this the loading, whatever you call that, the loading animation, this right here. Autopilot. How many times I'm sitting in a one-on-one coaching, we're like, all right, connect your wallet, load up, and hey, people gotta move. There's 31 million Aero still locked up in the autopilot. We're all waiting for our final reward, and it's over now, so we can go and withdraw. I can go withdraw now. Thank you for your service, buddies. It was fun. Aero's at 34 cents. That's all right. That's not a bad week. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Ask your questions here in the comments. If you're interested in being part of a family, being part of a tribe, where we're all going to make it together, we're all looking out for each other, from your mother-in-law all the way to the DJs and whatever, but looking at using systems, okay? I don't want day traders. I don't want people that are, up to lunch on their crypto research. I want people that are serious about creating systems for busy moms and dads looking to reclaim your financial sovereignty and moving into this new age of digitization, digital assets that is sweeping the world. The whole foundation of our world is being rewritten under our feet, and not enough people are listening. There is still the door is closing. The door is closing. There's still opportunities to get in. Make sure that you find your tribe, find the people that you trust, And I wish you the best of luck in the rest of 2026 and beyond. Cheers. Oh, and subscribe and like for more tips like this. Okay, bye. See you later.